Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For Ask a Trooper. Okay. Risa wants to know, why is it that in every other state I've lived in, the law requires lights on when it's raining, but not here?
We do require lights on when raining. However, there is a stipulation to that. Our law specifically states adverse atmospheric conditions, meaning rain, snow, fog, anything of that nature. It also specifically states that your vehicle has to be visible at 1,000 feet or more, meaning that if it's not visible, you need to turn those headlights on. General rule, if it's raining hard, turn your lights on, especially out on the freeway. Vehicles kick up so much mist that makes your visibility denser, essentially, kind of like a fog. Turn those lights on. Make sure that you're not only turning your headlights on, but your taillights as well. You want the people behind you to be able to see you so that if you're slowing, they're slowing.
So you can't pull people over if their lights aren't on?
Yes, I can.
You can?
Yes.
Because they're not driving correctly in the conditions?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Got it. How can we at home inspect our tires to make sure that the tread depth is okay and tire pressure? Is that all relevant to the change of seasons?
No. Your tread depth by RCW has to be at a minimum of 230 seconds. As a tripper, my agency policy is that it has to be a minimum of 430 seconds. But obviously, sometimes I'm doing different kind of driving than a citizen is,
yes.
Which is why yours can be lower than mine.
Okay.
But basically, the more tread depth you have, it's going to help with your traction.
It doesn't matter time of year?
No.
Necessarily.
The time of year that would transition into studded tires or things like that, which are only legal during certain times of the year.
When do studded tires have to be removed?
Studded tires are November 1st to April 1st. I hope I have that right.
I'm going to fact check you. Becky says, when I exit my gym, I have to pull into a U-turn lane. This lane is at the entrance to a housing development. Who has the right of way? Me in the U-turn lane or the people waiting to exit the neighborhood?
If I'm visualizing this correctly, I'm a visual person.
Yes, I am too. I'm like,
I want to draw this.
Yes.
It would depend on which direction she's turning as far as who has the right of way. Same thing with the vehicle exiting. It would depend on which direction they were turning. But if
she's in...
Is she like a center turn?
I don't know. Let's see. This lane, I pull into a U-turn lane at the entrance to housing development. Me in the turn lane. Let me... Maybe it's more... You have the... If you are exiting to get onto a freeway, everybody who is already on the roadway has the right of way.
Correct. Same. If it's that situation, it would be the same thing as like an on-ramp.
Okay. James says, I have a traffic light near my house that stays red for a very long time, especially at 3 a.m. Is it ever okay to safely run a red light?
No. No. There is one exception to that.
Okay.
If you are at a red light and you are making a turn onto a one-way street, you are allowed to make that turn as long as it is safe to do so, even on a red, but it has to be a one-way.
Okay.
So,
or a right-hand turn.
Yes, sorry. But like if you were at an intersection and your left turn is onto a freeway on-ramp, one-way freeway on-ramp, hopefully it's a one-way freeway on-ramp, you're allowed to make that turn on a red light.
Okay.
As long as it's safe to do so.
But if the light's red at 3 a.m. for 10 minutes, you better stay there.
It's still red.
Good to know. Patrick says, is there anything more being done to monitor and cite people for following too closely and tailgating?
That is something that troopers contact people for every single day.
Really?
I don't know the exact stat on that, but yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. Brooke lives across the street from an on-ramp to I-5.
Okay.
She has witnessed multiple accidents. She calls 911 and gets transferred to Seattle PD, who then transfers her to Washington State Patrol, who then transfers her back to Seattle PD. She said, so at what point is the accident on an on-ramp to an I-5 State Patrol territory versus city territory?
If the collision occurs genuinely on the on-ramp, that is us.
Okay.
If it occurs in the intersection prior to the on-ramp, that is whatever city or county jurisdiction.
Okay. Sue says, is there a minimum speed for I-5 or Highway 16? I often encounter folks doing 58 in the passing lane or carpool lanes. Sue also says, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Sue. There is no minimum speed. However, we talked about the left lane, no left lane camping, and we did also talk about impeding traffic. But we also talked about traveling at a speed that's safe for the roadway conditions. And
Right.
maybe 58 is the safe speed for the roadway conditions. They still probably shouldn't be doing 58 in the left lane unless they're passing someone who's doing 45.
Right. Then that's okay.
Right, then that's okay.
Let's see. Oh, now there's people who say that they know the law. Candace says, as far as I can recall, you're not supposed to make a left-hand turn across double yellow lines, yet I encounter this all the time. I've even seen businesses have an exit lane that makes you cross double yellow lines into traffic. What are the actual rules?
There actually is a stipulation for that, that if it is a business driveway, you are allowed to do so.
You are?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
But there are strict stipulations about the
Okay.
type of driveway that it has to be in order for you to be able to do that. General rule, though, is no.
No, unless,
Right.
okay. When passing someone on a divided highway, is it permissible to exceed the posted speed limit to clear the left lane and return to your normal lane of travel?
Yes, as long as you are doing so in a reasonable and prudent manner and not a reckless manner,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Christy says, how far over the speed limit can we actually go before getting pulled over?
You're risking it. Every trooper is different. We have discretion, thankfully, when it comes to that, but you never know which one of us you're going to encounter and what their threshold is at. Technically speaking, 61 is breaking the law.
Do you pull people over for 61?
I have never pulled anyone over for 61.
62?
No.
63?
No.
64?
68 I have.
68. Okay, so 68. That's your answer, 68. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No mile an hour over the speed limit.
Right.
Depending on the trooper.
Right.
Let's see. Mobile devices. Is there any data or evidence that shows an increased safety on the roads, or maybe in your personal experience since the laws changed?
Since the law has changed, it's been so recent.
Yeah.
There was that 6-period threshold that we gave people.
That's right.
But really that went into effect not so long ago. So I don't know that there's any data on that. Okay. As just a trooper driving the road, there still are a lot of people violating that law. I can tell you that.
Okay. Last question. Happy Law Enforcement Day.
Thank you.
Mary says, what is the best way to handle the road rager, tailgater, or upset driver you may have inadvertently upset by your actions?
So we actually have people call 911 for this, which if it gets to that point where you're feeling unsafe or their behavior is egregious, I absolutely encourage people to call 911. 9 times out of 10, the first thing that our dispatcher is going to ask you for is obviously description of the vehicle, description of the driver. What is it that they're doing that makes you feel unsafe? And sometimes we also encourage people to exit the freeway and get back on to see whether or not that vehicle is going to follow you. Sometimes you just need to create that separation, same as kind of dealing with little kids. You go to that corner, you go to that corner. So if we can create that space and that creates it to stop, that's what we want.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Great questions, great answers.